Hi, 7th grade students, and welcome to your video for the day. We are reviewing verb tenses, but then we will also begin to talk about perfect tenses. And so you will go from having 3 tenses that you regularly use to having 6. So let's go to our next slide. And we're going to talk about those 3 tenses that we regularly use. So they're past, present, and future. And you've been using these tenses your whole life. And for the most part, you are pretty clear on when to use them and the various rules. If we talk about a word like walk, generally we are going to add ed to it. But we all know that that's not always going to be the case. So here's our example. In the present, I walk to the store. But if I talk about what I did yesterday, I would say I walked to the store. And I would add that ed. The future tense uses will or shall. And so I will walk to the store, or I shall walk to the store. We'll talk about the rules later for when you use will or shall. In many verbs, you do add the ed, and that's a pretty common rule, and our friends across the sea are learning the English language, and that's not a very hard rule, just to add ed. However, we know that the English language does not always follow the rules. So here we have another example. We have the word sing, but the past tense for sing actually changes the spelling. Doesn't add an ed. We don't say singed. You might have said singed when you were 3 or 4 years old, but your mother probably corrected you. And so instead of saying singed, we would say sang. The future tense is will sing. Now, that doesn't seem too hard, okay? We have a few words that are going to have some kind of different rule added to them. But sometimes you actually change the spelling completely, and those poor children across the ocean are going to be really sad now. So, here we have a word go, but the past tense of go, I go to the store. The past tense is I went to the store. So here we're changing the form of the word completely. The future still uses will go. So I just want to remind you that past tense, future tense aren't always going to use the ed rule. Sometimes they're going to change spelling, and sometimes they're really going to change spelling. All right, I want you to practice with these. So what I'd like for you to do is to pause the video for a few minutes on a blank sheet of paper. It can be a scrap sheet of paper. I would like for you to write the past tense of the 5 verbs that I've provided. Then you will write the future tense. So you can make a little chart kind of like this and go through and do each of the past and future tense for each of these words. So just pause the video a second and do those tenses. Okay, if you're back, I assume that you have worked through those, and I want to go over them. So ring is going to rhyme with sing, and so is the past tense. So we have ring, rang, will ring. Play is going to use our ed. So play, played, will play. Cry is actually going to drop the y and add ied. So there's another new rule. And will cry. Study is also going to use the ied, will study. And then read, here's really getting out of the rules. We have read, read, R-E-A-D. Imagine our friends across the ocean and what they must be feeling right now. And then, of course, we'll read. So just a quick review on that and hopefully a little practice. I'm going to be getting a little bit more strict in your writing about staying in the right tense, because sometimes you want to move back and forth and it creates some confusion for the reader. So now we are going to add 3 more tenses to our grammar knowledge, and those tenses are called the perfect tense. Now, the perfect tenses are seen a lot in older writing. We see it in biblical literature and other literature from that time period. We also see it in people like Dickens and Twain, people that were a little bit more wordy. And what the perfect tense does is it begins in one time period. It's almost like time travel. Begins in one time period and it's going to affect another time period. Let me give you an example. The first one here, walk, the word walk. I might say something like, by tomorrow I will have walked 30 miles. Well, by tomorrow is in the future, but there's some indication that I'm already in the walking process. So I've been in 2 time periods. Like I said, the time traveler. So by tomorrow, I will have walked. So tomorrow's the future, but it's already started now. You could do something, the next one is sing, have sung, had sung, will have sung. If I said, I have sung 3 songs, that indicates that I'm probably not done. It's present, but it's still going on. I have sung. Now, if I said I had sung 3 songs, then it's past. I'm probably not doing any more. So I hope you get the idea of we're kind of crossing time zones. We're on a time travel, whatever. Another one, have studied, had studied, will have studied. Go, instead of, you don't say have went or had went. Remember, our past tense for go is went. But when you get to the perfect tenses, you have to use the word gone. Have gone, had gone, will have gone. Now, you might ask, why do we need perfect tenses? Why do we need all of this? Well, it allows you to clarify your writing just a little bit more. It does allow you to move through time. So just as an example, let's say I am a marathon runner, which I am not, but a marathon runner might clarify, by next week, I will have run in 3 marathons. And there is where you use your perfect tenses. You're clarifying the information, and you can do that with these perfect tenses. Now, I want you to look at this chart, and I want you to tell me a common word or family of words that you see popping up, and it cannot be the word will. That always pops up in future. But what is the common word that you are seeing? Well, if you said have, has, or had, then you were right. This is the key word as you play detective with these sentences. If you see have, has, or had, you will likely have a perfect tense. And so it's going to be super easy in a test, because if you see have, has, or had, you have to tell me it's a perfect tense. Have or has is going to indicate present. Had is going to indicate past. And if you add the word will to it, you will have future. This is super easy to do a test on. All right, let's practice. So I have 5 verbs here: climb, play, design, eat, and launch. On that same piece of paper, I want you to pause the video and I want you to put each of the 3 perfect tenses. So you're going to have, here's the first one, I'm going to give it to you, so go ahead and write. I have climbed. I had climbed. I will have climbed. That's all I want you to write besides your little sentences. So now what I want you to do is to pause it, complete those 5 verbs: climb, play, design, eat, and launch, and then we'll go over them. Okay, if you're back, then I assume you have finished these 5 verbs. So let's do the first one. And as I already mentioned, it's have climbed, had climbed. So have means it's going on, probably not all done yet. Had climbed, it's probably all done. Will have climbed is the future. Let's move on to play. Have played, had played, will have played. By next season, I will have played 64 baseball games. That is how you would use this. The next one, design. Have designed, had designed, will have designed. Eat. Have eaten. Here's another one of those. We're changing the spelling. Had eaten, will have eaten. Finally, have launched, had launched, will have launched. So I think you get what we're doing here. And just a reminder, what do we have to remember? The key words: have, has, had. And if we have future perfect, we are adding will. We also add will in regular future. Okay, so that is the video. You're going to complete the worksheet. You are also going to complete the spelling worksheet that I have left for you. And there's some cursive practice. And if you finish all of that, then you can work on any writing assignment or any other homework that you have for other classes. And I will see you Thursday.